All right, let's dive right into a really important topic today: how we recognize harm in apprenticeships. Because, it's often not what you think. It's usually not one big, dramatic event, but something way more subtle, kind of hiding just out of sight. So let's just start with a question to get us thinking. When you hear the word harm in a workplace, what's the first image that pops into your head? Hold on to that, because we're about to see that the reality is often completely different from that first picture. And this is really the heart of it. Harm in an apprenticeship is just like an iceberg. You see, the most dangerous part isn't the bit sticking out of the water. Nope. It's the massive hidden part underneath that can do the real damage over time. Okay, so let's start with that part we can all see, the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about physical harm. This is the stuff that's easiest for us to imagine. But even this can be easily missed or, explained away in a really busy environment. Look, this isn't always about some huge, obvious accident. It's more about the patterns. Think about it. An apprentice on a construction site with bruises they just shrug off as part of the job. Or someone in a kitchen getting small cuts again and again because they're being rushed. And the key thing here, it might not even be malicious. A lot of the time, it's just neglect in disguise. But whether it's intentional or not, the harm is still very, very real. All right, now we're gonna go below the surface. This is where we find the most common and honestly the most damaging kinds of harm. The stuff that's just quietly running in the background of an apprentice's life, day in, day out. Emotional harm is probably the one you'll see the most. It's that constant, slow chipping away at a person's confidence. That senior colleague who always belittles them for making a mistake, or the manager whose bad mood just makes everyone walk on eggshells. An apprentice just wants to fit in, right? So they often just take it, maybe even call it banter. And this quote, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? This is the end result. The apprentice starts to think, maybe I'm the problem. They stop asking questions, they get quiet, and their whole goal changes from trying to succeed to just trying to get through the day without anyone noticing them. Sexual harm is an incredibly difficult thing for an apprentice to talk about. Think about the power dynamics here. They're just starting their career. They might be worried that if they report some supervisor's inappropriate comments or texts, their whole future is on the line. It's a massive barrier that can really trap them. Now, when we say neglect here, we're not talking about a lack of food or shelter. This is about a lack of professional care. It's leaving an apprentice to handle a risky situation all by themselves or constantly ignoring their questions when they're asking for help. You're basically setting them up to fail, and it leaves them feeling totally incompetent and unsafe. And believe me, the list of these hidden pressures just goes on. Harm can spill over from what's happening at home. It can be discrimination that makes someone feel like they'll never belong. It can be financial exploitation or online harassment that follows them home. All of this stuff has a huge impact on their safety and, of course, their ability to learn anything. So you're probably thinking, okay, if all this stuff is hidden, how on earth am I supposed to spot it? Well, here's the answer. You don't wait for someone to come to you with a perfectly labeled problem. You have to learn to read the patterns, to notice the small changes in their behavior. The absolute key is to look for a shift. Maybe you had an apprentice who started out super lively and motivated, and now they're withdrawn, they're always apologizing, or second-guessing everything they do. That difference, that before and after, that could be your very first clue that something is wrong. And these patterns are the real signals. A sudden drop in attendance, getting irritable out of nowhere, maybe you can see they're anxious, or they've totally lost interest in the work they used to love. These things are almost never random. They're often the only way a hidden struggle shows itself, even if the apprentice keeps telling you, no, everything's fine. Okay, so understanding the signs is half the battle. The other half is knowing what your role is and how to act. And here's the good news. It's actually a really clear, straightforward path. You don't have to be some kind of detective or a therapist. So your job isn't to fix the whole thing. It's simply to follow these 4 vital steps. First, you notice the change. Trust your gut. Second, you listen, really listen, without judging. Third, you write down the facts, what they actually said. And fourth, you refer it straight away to your safeguarding lead. That's it. You're a crucial link in the chain. You don't have to be the whole chain. Now, this is so important, what not to do. When you're in that listening mode, your main job is just to create space. Don't ask questions that put words in their mouth, and whatever you do, don't rush to fill a silence. Seriously, sometimes just being quiet and patient is the most powerful thing you can do to make someone feel safe enough to open up. And we just have to remember where they're coming from. An apprentice is there to learn, to impress, to build a future. The absolute last thing they want is to be seen as a troublemaker. And it's because they're in that vulnerable position that your quiet, proactive curiosity is so powerful. You might be the only one who gives them that chance to talk.
And that really just leaves us with one final crucial thought. Safeguarding isn't usually about big, dramatic moments. It's about quiet noticing. It's about being willing to trust that gut feeling and being prepared to actually, truly listen when someone needs you to. Your quiet curiosity could literally be a lifeline. So the only question left is, are you ready to use it?